The power grid is dead. Grocery stores were cleaned out in 48 hours. Your freezer is just a warm box of rotting meat. You've got canned goods, dry beans, maybe some rice. But here's what you don't have: salt. And in 2 weeks, when that meat is gone and those beans taste like cardboard and your body starts cramping, you'll realize something our ancestors knew in their bones. Salt isn't a seasoning, it's survival infrastructure. That little container of Morton's you bought for $3 is about to be worth more than the rifle in your closet. First, understand what salt actually does. Sodium chloride. Your body cannot function without it. Sodium regulates fluid balance, nerve transmission, muscle contraction. Without it, your neurons stop firing, your heart rhythm goes haywire, your muscles fail. You lose it constantly, and sweat and urine. In a normal life, maybe 5 grams a day. But in a collapse, you're working harder, you're stressed, you're hot. You're losing 10, 15 grams daily. If you don't replace it, your body starts shutting down. The condition is called hyponatremia, and it kills you just as dead as a bullet. And you can't get enough from the wild.
You can forage every edible green in the forest and still die of salt deficiency. This is where salt becomes worth its weight in gold. Food preservation. You hunt a deer. That's 60 pounds of protein. Without a freezer, you've got 3 days before it's maggot food. Unless you have salt. Salt curing is the oldest preservation method on Earth. It works by osmosis. You pack meat in salt, and the salt draws water out of the tissue. No water, no bacteria, no rot. A properly salt-cured piece of meat can last for months, even years. This is how the Vikings sailed for months on salt cod. It's how Rome fed its legions. Fresh food is a luxury. Preserved food is survival. Now, think about trade. In a collapse, what's worth anything? Bullets are a one-time use. Tools break. But salt is consumable and essential. Everyone needs it every single day, and most people don't have it. Think about your neighborhood.
How many people have more than a single shaker? You, with a 50-pound bag of livestock salt, which costs about $15 right now, are suddenly the wealthiest person for miles. A tablespoon of salt could be worth a can of food, a day's labor. History proves it. During the American Civil War, the Union blockaded southern ports specifically to cut off salt. The Confederacy grew desperate. Entire military operations were launched just to capture salt works. Men died for it. Because without salt, you can't preserve meat to feed an army. It's not just about keeping your body running or your food from rotting. Salt makes things edible. 2 weeks of flavorless rice and beans will crush your will to live. A pinch of salt turns that mush back into food. It's psychology. It's a disinfectant you can use to clean wounds. It's medicine. So forget the gold and the ammo for a second. The person who controls the salt controls food preservation. And the person who controls food preservation controls survival. Bullets might protect you, but salt is what will keep you alive.
We left off with the foundation. Salt preserves food, replaces electrolytes, and becomes the most tradable commodity in a collapse. But knowing its value means nothing if you can't get it. So where do you find salt when the supply chain is dead? If you're near a coast, you have an infinite supply. Seawater is 3.5% salt. 1 gallon yields half a pound. The process is simple: evaporation. Collect seawater in shallow trays, let the sun do the work. The water goes, the salt stays. Scrape it up. You've just become the regional salt baron. But what if you're inland? You're not screwed, but you have to be smarter. Look for signs of ancient seabeds, white crusts on the soil, salt springs, or patches of earth where nothing grows. Salt sterilizes the ground. You can taste test springs. If it's salty, you've hit gold. Boil it down. Or follow the animals. Game trails often converge on natural salt wicks. Harvest that soil, dissolve it in water, filter the dirt, and evaporate. It's crude, but it's functional. Of course, the smartest move is to stockpile now while it's cheap. A 50-pound bag of livestock salt, chemically identical to human-grade salt, costs about $15. It's a mineral. It never spoils.
Keep it dry, and it will outlast you. For a family of 4, 50 pounds might cover your dietary and food preservation needs for 6 months,
but its real value is in trade. That 50-pound bag contains 1,500 tablespoons. Post-collapse, a tablespoon of salt could trade for a day's labor, a dozen eggs. You've just turned $15 into a fortune. Now, let's talk about why salt beats bullets. Bullets are finite. You fire them, they're gone. Salt is a tool of production. Imagine this. Your neighbor has thousands of rounds of ammo. You have hundreds of pounds of salt. 6 months into a collapse, he shoots a deer. But without salt, that meat will rot in 3 days. He needs you. His bullets are worthless for preservation. Your salt gives you leverage. History proves this. The fall of Rome wasn't just about barbarians. It was about collapsing trade routes. Salt scarcity meant food couldn't be preserved for winter. People starved. Medieval cities like Salzburg, literally Salt City, built empires on controlling salt mines. The French Revolution was partly fueled by a hated salt tax. Governments have always understood, control salt and you control the population. With salt, you can preserve anything. Dry cure meat into jerky,
Brine vegetables into pickles and sauerkraut that last for months with no refrigeration. Salt and smoke fish. That's the food that let Vikings cross the Atlantic. It'll get you through a winter. Some will argue you can just take what you need with force, but violence is expensive. It costs ammo, risks injury, and makes enemies. The people who survive long-term collapses aren't the most violent. They're the most valuable. Salt makes you valuable. You become the center of a new economy. People won't raid you, they'll protect you because your survival is tied to theirs. So here's the plan. Go buy salt. Bulk, cheap, store it. Learn how to use it. Because when the grid fails, the people with salt are the new wealthy class. Bullets protect. Salt sustains. And in a long collapse, sustaining always beats protecting. Roman soldiers knew it. Medieval kings fought wars over it. And you can secure this power for the cost of a couple of pizzas. That's the deal of the century. Don't miss it.